Hello everyone, this is Sean from Barry Digital Media and I hope you are doing well. Today I'm going to take a look into video game marketing. Perplexity says video game marketing involves targeted strategies to promote games to broad and niche audiences using methods such as influencer partnerships, social media, immersive campaigns, and community engagement to drive awareness, hype, and sales. Core strategies: influencer marketing on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch are crucial as gaming audiences discover and trust games through authentic content from streamers and creators. Building engaged player communities through social channels, live events, and user generated content fosters loyalty and organic growth. Paid advertising and referral programs help widen reach, often with precision targeting to maximize ROI. Storytelling in trailers, demo, and even game launches create strong emotional ties to anticipation among fans. Recent trends for 2025 insights: campaigns supporting cross platform AAA games playable across mobile, console, and PC are on the rise, changing how publishers design and market titles. Authenticity outperforms polished ads. Raw, humorous, or community driven content gains more traction than formal commercials, especially with Gen Z and Gen Alpha gamers. Social media has become the dominant channel for discovery, with TikTok leading as a source for game recommendation and memes. Notable campaigns: Halo 3 believes in oh, excuse me. Halo 3 Believe and GTA 6 teasers are iconic for building suspense involving fan theories and cryptic releases. Fortnite's Travis Scott virtual concert and regular content updates have set new standards for ongoing engagement. Viral influencer driven hits like Among Us and massive climatic launches, e.g., Cyberpunk 2077, showcase how multifaceted campaigns leverage influencers, events, and storytellers to dominate discourse and sales. Key takeaways: the most effective video game marketing in 2025 integrates audience research, authentic creator partnerships, community involvement, and clever use of emerging and ad channels. Ongoing multi-phase marketing before, during, and after launch keeps titles relevant and players invested. Regular updates, exclusive in-game items, and interactive events create memorable, shareable experiences. Developers and publishers aiming for success in today's competitive landscape must blend creativity and analytics and audience savvy to break through the noise and connect with gaming communities. So that was a pretty good review. I think it missed that demos could actually play uh, a good marketing strategy as well, because some of those demos, they do catch on with some hype, and then they can tie into some of the community driven content as well. Similar to the, I guess it's not widely available, but the demo that the Resident Evil 9 people are playing, a lot of good content has come out of that, and a lot of shareable content as well. Of course, that can backfire if the game is, or if the demo is very buggy. But anyways, that's a good high level. But next up, I'm going to go into a couple of topics, and then I'm going to go down a rabbit hole a bit. So let's jump into it. What was I looking at here? 7 marketing lessons from video game industry that you should know. You should create a story, update content and marketing strategies, foster discussion in community, add gamification, involve your audience, let your fans do the talking, build hype, and there we go. The gaming industry offers many lessons that business in any sector can apply their marketing efforts by engaging your customers through interactive storytelling, building an active community, creating customer loyalty programs, and ensuring your brand and content remain relevant. You'll be able to take steps to improve your marketing and ultimately grow your business. So those are some good, quick, high level points there. This article is on business.com if you want to go into each one of these articles. But I mean, those did sound really good. Um, but I'm gonna progress forward because we have a lot to go through. Um, and so this one here, this one gives examples of things that you may want to post on social media, which might help out your marketing and help potentially grab more virality, let's say, of your game that you might want to market. So concept art and gameplay pictures. Some of the concept art that people make, like people make books which have a lot of concept art in them, and some of them are very interesting, and people get very in depth with them. Character art from the game. Again, some of the characters, they're very expressive, and again, they'll make books just focused on the character art. Beautiful scenery or elements of levels in the game. Again, concept art. Some of that scenery is very nice. Boss fights. Something like this, boss fights can turn into a niche inside of YouTube for content. Like there are videos on YouTube which focuses on the game Dark Souls, and they'll have the main character fighting the boss, and you'll get to see all the cool moves that the bosses can do, and it can show you just how like challenging it is and how rewarding. But then, I also see that there's a couple ones where they have like bosses fighting each other. That's taking some element of the game and remixing it so it's not really an accurate representation of the game. But those are pretty interesting. Trailers, of course, shows you a good overview of everything, including the graphics, um, and potentially when it's going to launch and who's developing it. Pictures of the team working on the project. So maybe you have an upcoming star or a star developer that's already on the market. Um, Maybe that would be good. Or potentially, you have pictures of the team with a lot of concept art around them, or a really neat development office, or taking part in like Gamescom or something like that. Relevant hashtags, of course. Um, and then let's see, tweet engagement, website clicks, app install, video views. Okay, that's all good. So moving on. Um, so this article here from uh, Digital Agency Network focuses on a bunch of successful marketing campaigns for games. And so here I have GTA 6. This one I'll focus on, and then maybe I'll do some others another time. Rockstar's campaign for GTA 6 has been a video game marketing masterclass, keeping fans on the edge. By combining mystery, community engagement, and high quality trailers, they built a sense of anticipation that feels like an adventure in itself. From cryptic hints into the real world events, such as campaign elements, add another layer, pulling fans in and encouraging them to be part of the excitement. So, I mean, whatever's going on in this screen looks like a whole lot of fun. Like guy and a girl in a luxurious pool or lake with a pet alligator. I mean, that definitely looks a whole lot of fun. So just taking a quick peek at some of the trailer here. I mean, cool cars, cool boats. Looks like you can fly a helicopter. Oh, there we go. Here we have, okay, so they are on the beach. And they have their pet alligator. The guy has some cool shades. Um, let's see some models there. Some of the story we can see here. It looks like there's a lot going on. Let's just say, oh, more alligator, more racing. Yeah, looks like there's just tons and tons of content inside of this game. So that's a great example of a trailer. And so let's continue with the article. Instead of handing out details, Rockstar has been selective, releasing just enough to keep players guessing while leaving the big reveal for launch day. Through these strategies, Rockstar has managed to make GTA 6 one of the most talked about games before it's even available. Teasers and hints, countdowns, fan engagement, hidden clues, cinematic trailers, influence report, ongoing mystery. Yeah, this game looks like its marketing is very good, especially if they have these different tactics down here. They seem different than just your standard strategy where you just work on some pay-per-click ads or you just focus on some influencers. Yeah, definitely well thought out. To be fair, GTA is a massive brand. I think it is in the billions of dollars. So they probably have a lot of marketing resources and talent available to them. But that's nothing to say that if you are working on your own project, that you can take one or two of these ideas and integrate them into your own strategy. Gaming Trends 2025, what's shaping the industry? So I'm just going to go through the table of contents here. Triple A cross-platform games raise the bar. UGC and player-created content boom. AI in game development and personalization. User acquisition reinvented post-privacy. TikTok and influencers drive game discovery. Hybrid monetization becomes the standard. Live ops and seasonal content keep players engaged. Cozy games and gamified wellness on the rise. Genre matchups and new mechanics flourish. Gaming as the new social space. Emerging markets become gaming's new growth empire. Cloud gaming and new platforms expand access. Final thoughts, data sources. Yeah, there's definitely some big ones in there. Um, and I mean, if you're looking for a new game to develop, genre mashups and new mechanics, if your game has one of those new mechanics, uh, you might want to leverage it a lot, especially if it is a fun new mechanic. Perhaps your game can either catch the virality of it or be first in the market for that matchup. So that can do a lot. And you can become the staple. I think roguelike, that's basically a game that was inspired. Okay, so I don't want to overspeak. Okay, anyways, and then triple cross platform. There's something else. Of course, the player created content boom, especially with GTA. A lot of people like to make their content through that. Um, let's see. Okay, interesting. So I think I might take a deeper look into this article as well in a future video. So now I wanted to get into the rabbit hole. And really, the rabbit hole is the indie dev subreddit in Reddit. And it's kind of funny because I saw this one post here just, is this sub just all marketing? Which is probably a good criticism, but I wouldn't think negatively about the people just trying to market their game because it is competitive. And one of the nice things about making your own games in capitalism in general, just you can make something and you can work to help other people experience the game that you're making, and you can you can work to do that, and then of course you'd be rewarded afterwards. Anyways, so let's go down deeper, um, and so I was looking at this one post here where the post says, I run a video game marketing agency sharing advice and tips. So I recommend taking a look at that one, but I thought that we would read into this post here. I think marketing is often considered to be the same as communications. It's not the case, in my opinion. Marketing is so much more than paying stuff, or so much more than paying stuff about your game. That sounds weird. Marketing is so much more than paying stuff about your game. In fact, I believe marketing should be started even before a GDD starts to take form. Genre marketing, pricing policy, and strategic decisions need to be made early as possible. When it comes to actual communications, there's no right answer. Sometimes 6 months is the right call, sometimes 2 years. It depends on what the game is. It's it's there, it's there, going to be a demo. When you want to make a big media push, will there be a playtest? Whether the game is going to be released in EA and tons of other stuff. When it comes to the strategy, we need to define what it is. In my understanding, it is a document which provides a guideline for conducting marketing and communication activities and helps with defining the product. As it's a document, my structure is usually pretty uniform, but the content may vary widely. The biggest difference in the structure of a strategy happens when we compare PC console games to mobile browser ones, or when we compare P2P or F2P titles as distribution advertising methods, releasing and maintaining them aren't universal and need to be adapted. But all this stuff like USP, emotions and values, branding, and such are universal, so they end up in each strategy I work on. Okay, not bad. So that's actually a pretty good post because they're talking about the whole lifestyle life. Where's my own communication here? They're talking about the whole like lifespan of your own marketing strategy from when you're initially developing the product to setting out your initial feelers into the market when you first announce it and then when you release the game, all these different steps. And then they're also saying that it depends on what what your game is going to be released on too. If it's going to be released on PC or console, that's going to be one strategy. If it's going to be released on your phone, that's going to be a completely other strategy. So that's all interesting. I don't think pretend. Okay, okay. Let's read this one too. It's extremely unlikely. Should I? Okay, yeah. Do you think a game could be successful from a solo dev with $0 marketing budget? What steps would you try to take and garner success if you had no money to spend? It's extremely unlikely, but possible. Fear and Hunger is an example of that. However, what counts as success? Without defining that, the answer is going to be very subjective. I'm also going to theorize quite a bit here, so forgive me for not being precise and not doing research. I don't know how to produce games, nor can I create assets, so you may want to take it with a grain of salt. If I were to make a game with no marketing budget, I'd opt for a well known genre like RPG, just to make sure that there's an audience for the game. I'd combine two motifs while well known in the general culture, say Norse mythology with punk athletics. It would be about creating something that feels familiar and new at the same time. Then, aside from development, I'd focus on tirelessly posting to social media and building the community around the title. Other activities I'd take on would probably include taking part in various Steam events, cross promoting with other devs, and preparing a multi step release schedule that would include at least one public playtest demo, possibly a prologue in EA/slash full release. Most importantly, I'd focus on making the game that's as good and as enticing as it gets. Quality can often be the driving force behind sales, especially if there's an audience for such a title. I think that was a pretty great response. Um, what are some underrated and lesser known avenues for driving people to your Steam page? For example, I've had reasonable success posting on Facebook groups, which I don't see mentioned so often. That's a tricky question. Generally case based, marketers in the industry often tend to neglect the stuff that was done earlier to try to hop on the next new thing. Facebook groups, which could usually be considered a legacy platform by most, are the tribe of people with relevant interests, and I recommend using them. Another one, which would be generally a good idea, it is paying to Imager, especially if your game looks nice and you write good copy. GameJolt can be considered for cross posting. The trick is to provide good looking assets and to tell a cohesive story in each entry, kind of like posting dev logs to Steam. A technique that's very time consuming and rarely pays off, but it sometimes does if to live stream the game development and to engage with the audience, coding assets creations, rigging and such. Taking part in award competitions is a safe bet. If you have a proper budget and idea, then you may consider something out of the box. A client of mine has a Aztec themed game in the works. I had an idea to have a cosplay dresser dressed as an Aztec priest, to have an altar made, and to place him in the heavy traffic of areas to encourage people to take a pic of them being sacrificed. The costs were too big, but it was a sick concept, I suppose. In general, you need to make people aware of your game in some way, and then you need to make them want to go to the Steam page. Quite often, a simple call to action does the trick once you reach them. So, you know what? This is actually, I think this is a pretty great post here. If you are looking into video game marketing in general, this one here by Rad Dog OSTT. Oh, yeah. Anyways, I would look for this post and save it for when you need to do some of your marketing work. So let's continue to go down. And so, any suggestions on where, how can I reach the audience for my niche game? So, I mean, it looks like a puzzle game essentially. Um, and so, this is a good post as well. Anyways, and then another one here looks pretty good too. So, I mean, so this is kind of a marketing strategy where you just go on to Reddit and post your game and potentially get some interest on it that way. But I mean, this one. So what I wanted to point out with this one is, yeah, sure, the game looks great as it is, but but the person posting here is also talking about their own personal story, and that might be a good hook as well. So, hi all, my husband and I launched our first game in May to a very quiet reception. We're working on a big update that I'd like to make a new trailer for. Would really appreciate feedback on our current trailer. What works? What can we improve? Could use some unbiased advice. Also, does our store page sound like ChatGPT? I wrote it all myself, but I'm wondering if I need to change the tone. Not sure if the current vibe is putting people off. So, a little bit of a personal story, asking for advice. Nothing wrong with it. Of course, I appreciate people putting their custom made games in any sort of channel, trying to get that attention. And then here's another one. Here is a post of somebody putting their game in the Gamescom booth and letting people give it a try. And one of the things that really caught my attention about this post was that some people were able to complete the demo and some people were not. And how they took it was, right here, the general consensus: the game is hard. Only two gamers out of the whole GameCon audience managed to actually finish the prototype, which is already feedback on itself. So that is good. And then let's see. Oh yeah, how do you handle marketing? On my end, the website's The Indie House has some pretty interesting articles, and it also has a section for events and festivals. As for social media, it feels like a bit like a lottery. It kind of seems like I should have started building a community years ago to start releasing the game now. I've also sent out hundreds of emails with keys to influencers, magazines, websites, but I haven't seen a noticeable impact on wish lists and the keys end up being resold on shady sites. Steam Next Fest did work well for me. And despite it being my first time, I published the demo right at the start of the event. Now for the next game, with with a more polished demo release in the next few months in advance, I think it'll go way better. As for publishers, that's my own little personal hell. Sometimes people reach out, but they don't seem trustworthy or there are some odd terms in the contract. I often wish there were local publishers, or at least ones close enough that I could meet in person. Finally, what I found most useful in doing solid market research, looking for games that could be considered similar in terms of mechanics and dynamic, identifying their strengths, and especially seeing where they fall short and what could have been improved. Interesting. What has been the most effective marketing strategy for your game? Festivals and event and Steam front cover. Excuse me. Festivals events with Steam front page coverage. Yes, that does sound good. I will post reels on TikTok and Instagram, upload screenshots to X and Imager. Recently, I started posting on Reddit. Specifically, I posted on survival gaming, and my post got lots of traction. I think what Chris Zukowski says is really good advice, which is essentially don't market to other game devs. Game devs, I found, are quite critical of and are not your audience. It's really easy to post on Unity 3D or other game dev subreddits, but this isn't your audience unless you're selling a game engine or assets. For my game, it is a private or a pirate survival game, thus posts in small communities less than 100,000 and target towards who would play my game, hence why survival gaming post. If you got any questions, please reach out. I have almost 1,000 Instagram followers and went from zero wish list to now about 200 on Steam in 5 days. I'm no pro, but I can share what I've learned. That sounds pretty good. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up with this one here. Um, so, my very first game hit 5,500 wish lists in 3 months. My first game's marketing journey and what I learned. Hello, my name is Felix. I'm 17 and I'm about to launch my first Steam game, Cats Are Money, and I wanted to share my initial experience with game promotion, hoping it will be useful for other aspiring developers like me. How I got my wish list. Steam page and Idle Festival participation. Right after creating my Steam page, I uploaded a demo and got into the Idle Fest Games Festival in the first month. The page gathered about 600 wish lists. It's hard to say exactly how many came from the festival versus organic Steam traffic for a new page, but I think both factors played into the role. Reddit post. Next I started promoting actively on Reddit. I shared in subreddits like Cozy Games and Incremental Games, as well as cat related communities, and even non gaming ones like GIF. Well, you can post in gaming subreddits like indie games. They rarely get more than 2 or 3 thousand views without significant luck. Surprisingly, gaming subreddits turned out to be more effective. They brought in another 1,000 wish lists within a month, increasing my total to about 1,400. X and Twitter ads. In the second month of promotion, I started testing X ads. After a couple weeks of experimentation and optimization, I managed to achieve a cost of about 60 cents per wish list from tier 1 to tier 2 countries, with 20 to 25 wish lists per day. Overall, I consider Twitter X one of the most accessible platforms for attracting wish lists in terms of cost effectiveness, though my game's visuals might have just been very catchy. Of course, the price and number of wish lists fluctuated sometimes, but I managed to solve this by creating new creatives and ad groups. In the end, 2 months of these ad campaigns increased my total wish list to approximately 3,000. Mini bloggers and Steam Next Fest. I heard that to have a successful start on Steam Next Fest, it's crucial to ensure a good influx of players on the first day. So I decided to buy ads from a blogger. I ordered 3 posts from a small YouTuber, average about 20 to 30K subscribers, with themes relevant to my game on Telegram, just to make sure that the views are real and not artificially boosted. One YouTube Shorts one YouTube Shorts video on a relevant channel 30K subscriber. In total, this brought about 100,000 views. All this cost me about $300, which I think is pretty low price for such reach. On the first day of the festival, I received 800 wish lists. This was when the posts and videos went live. And over the entire festival, I got 2,300. After the festival, my total reached 5,400 wish lists. However, the number of wish lists removed significantly increased from 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. From what I understand, this is a temporary post-festival effect and should subscribe after a couple of weeks. Future plans. Soon, I plan to release a separate page for a small prologue to the game. I think it will ultimately bring about 300 to 400 wish lists to the main page to help me reach about 6,000 wish lists before the official release. My entire strategy aimed at getting into the upcoming release section on Steam, and I think I can make it happen. Ideally, I want to launch with about 9,000 wish lists. In total, I plan to spend and have almost spent $2,000 on marketing. This was money gifted by relevance plus a small side job. Localization for the game will cost about $500. This is how my first experience in marketing and preparing for a game launch is going. I hope this information proves useful to someone. If anyone has questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. Yeah, so I think that was a pretty great post. A lot of information in there, a lot of ideas. In fact, I think if I were to recommend a post to someone to really get inspired, I think this would be the one. A couple of the other posts there were good as well, but yeah, this was quite good. And you know what? Looking at the art style here, I think he will have a lot of good success. Anyways, I hope you found this useful, and thanks for sticking with me. Like and subscribe if you liked it.